I'm Janus Jaguar, and welcome to another episode of Janus Jaguar Yammers. Uh, get some coffee, get some nip, grab a blanket, crawl on up, because we're going to jump into another barrel and find out, am I the bung for breaking off my engagement over incompatible morals? That is actually not factually correct in the name of the title. The title is actually for calling off my engagement after my party revealed he is MAGA. As I said, moral differences, incompatibilities. My fiance and I have been together since 2013 when we met in college. He struggled to get a well-paying job, and during this long bouts of unemployment must have been radicalized to blame everyone else. I chalked it up to depression and tried to get him help and with therapy. I paid for him to return to school to become a nurse too, but he still has not completed the prereqs after 7 years. He currently works gig jobs while I'm a nurse in California, making close to $400K a year. That is a lot of money for a nurse. Must be a specialized nurse. Working full-time and a part-time job. Well, that explains the 400K for both. Wow, that's still a lot of money though. Awesome. I was hoping to save up enough to have to work after having a baby since I, one, cannot rely on him. We were planned to get married next year and wanted to try for a baby. He knows I'm very liberal and all about women's rights. He never openly expressed support for MAGA itself until after Trump won and said Trump will help the economy and finally allow him to get a good job. I told him that it was the easiest time to get a job in the past 20 years in 2021, yet he couldn't. I'm not giving in to sucking costs and staying, and he didn't know. But he did make offhand comments before on women losing their worth the older they get, and I questioned him, and he said it was a joke. The past week has been miserable listening to him talk nonstop on how great Trump is and how he will turn everything great again. I had it and gave him notice to leave by the end of the month, and we are through. He said it's unfair and told me it's stupid to give up on us over politics. The very fact he said that solidified my notion that he is so clueless and our values are too different. He will likely have to move back into his parents' home or be homeless since he makes less than $35K a year in the most expensive region in the United States. Am I the bung for throwing away an 11-year relationship over politics? I wish politics was boring again. I'm really not going to go into the edit because it doesn't really add much to the story. It just tells you that he's at his parents and all that job, especially when it's -4. The answer is no. In fact, breaking up, calling off engagement for moral reasons is probably the best reason to break an engagement off. I mean, how can you actually be with somebody who literally, in this case, hates you, has preconceived prejudices that are negative towards you? Now, obviously, not all, right-leaning people are like that, but to vote for Trump on the platform that he ran with, yeah, that's pretty incompatible moral-wise. Um, and as we saw with the election, a lot of people distance themselves because of that. People do that all the time. Are you just going to break a friendship or a relationship over politics, political differences? I always kind of found that a weird question because political differences are huge differences. And this election cycle is a perfect example of that morality check, really. Um, Everyone knows the platform that he ran on, its negativity. There was all kinds of negativity thrown in that, and what positivity was it? And it's a fact choice. That's bias. The corruption is the key.